Morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning. It is our last Sunday morning live class today. Last one. 28 days. Can't quite believe we've done this for 28 days. That is a full-on habit now, hopefully. I see you all joining. Morning, morning. Morning, Andy. Morning, Matt. Today I thought, so yesterday was a little bit more heat building, a little more challenging maybe. So today we're going to do some more stretchy kind of poses, I suppose, but sort of more intense, deeper stretches. You're in charge of how deep you take the stretch. But yeah, hopefully just some really nice calming stretches where you can kind of connect to your breath and just really find that focus, which I thought would be nice for a Sunday morning. So we'll begin seated as we usually do. So just finding whatever seat works best for you. I'm going to stack one foot in front of the other, as always. Just finding somewhere you can come into some stillness. Just begin to notice things around you, sounds. How do you feel this morning? And just bring your awareness inwards. Noticing your breath without changing anything. Maybe beginning to reflect on how this part of the daily practice feels now compared to how it felt right at the beginning of January. Maybe beginning to deepen the inhales and exhales. Lengthening those rounds of breath. Maybe breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. If your eyes are closed, just beginning to blink them open. And we'll just move into some nice stretches this morning. So I'm just going to turn on my mat so that you can see me a bit better. We're going to bend the knees, take the feet out wide. If you're on a mat, just take them as wide as a yoga mat. If not, just take them wider than hip distance, so a good width. Then we're going to take the hands out behind. Let me make sure you can see. Take the hands out behind you. And it's completely up to you here. So we're going to try and really open through the chest and think really nice and long through the spine. Remember that thread pulling you up from the top of your head. So as you do that, you can feel that opening through the chest. And then if you like to take it a little bit further, you can just bring the fingertips around towards your body, towards the end of the mat, towards your feet. And maybe you can feel that stretch now a little bit more intensely through the shoulders. And just breathing into it, so keeping hold of that deep inhale, exhale that we just connected to. Keeping that nice, long spine. And then as you're ready, if you're just bring it, coming up on the fingertips to come up out of that stretch. We're just going to move it forward. So we're just essentially going to reverse the movement. We're just going to take the hands in between the knees, start to walk the hands forwards and fold it over. So this will look very, very different for everybody. It completely depends here on how open your hips are. Mine are not particularly flexible. So walking your hands forwards and then just allowing yourself to kind of fold over the top of your hands, pressing into the feet, and as much as you can, thinking nice and long in the spine. Returning to your breath, where your mind might begin to wander. And you're ready, just walking the hands back up into the middle. We're just going to take the legs out long. And I'm going to twist so that you can see me a little bit better. So taking the legs out long, let's bring the right foot inside the left leg. So kind of like a seated tree pose that we've been doing. You can flex through the foot, so this front left toes, they're pointing up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to take some nice side stretches. So with the opposite hand, opposite arm to your hip crease. I always get this really confused and I'm trying to think of how it looks when it's reversed to you guys. Opposite hand, so right hand comes into the left hip crease. We're just going to take the left arm up and over. And I've really got the shakes today. That left leg is not loving this. So pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, keeping that foot flexed, that's what's causing the wobbles all down my left leg here as I really reach through the left hand, through the left fingertips, up towards the ceiling. Feeling that side stretch all down the left side of the body. Thinking nice and long through the spine. And on an exhale, bringing everything back down, and we'll take it onto the other side. So right leg goes out long this time, left leg comes in, flexing through the right foot, toes up towards the ceiling. And again, just taking that opposite hand. So left hand comes into that hip crease, right hand comes up and over. You're actually engaging so much more in this stretch than you realise. So with that foot engaged, we're engaging all through that right leg. Tensing through that core, engaged through that core, keeping us nice and straight. Thinking nice and long through the spine as we're being pulled up from the crown of the head. And then we're really reaching through these right fingers, finding that side stretch all down the right side of the body. On an exhale, bringing that hand back down, and we're going to find tabletop position, coming into all fours. I'm going to leave it up to you if you would like to do some cat-cows here or some other gentle stretches, maybe coming forwards, having a little play with the wrists maybe. That is completely up to you at home. No one can see you, go for whatever you like. But for the rest of us, if you'd like to follow me, we are going to bump the hips towards the left, and as we do so, we're going to gaze over the opposite shoulder, so gazing over your right shoulder. Going to come back into centre as you inhale, and as you exhale, let's bump the hips to the right, gazing over the left shoulder. Inhale, exhale. Take a couple of rounds of these. Try not to crank yourself round, but just sort of feeling into the body where feels most comfortable. I think it's quite an underrated stretch. Feeling it all through the neck, all through the hips, pressing into the tops of the feet, maybe tucking through the toes if you'd prefer a little extra balance. Not caring what it looks like, No one else can see you. It's your own practice. And then meeting back in neutral here, just in that tabletop position. Again, not caring what our practice looks like, we're going to try puppy pose today. It's a really, really nice, deep chest opener, shoulder opener. It will really stretch through your shoulders. You're in control of the stretch. Find where feels most comfortable, listen to yourself, don't push yourself too far. Take what you need. So in this all fours position, all we're going to do is begin to walk the hands forwards, keeping the hips over the top of the knees. Walk the hands forwards, similar to how we do in child's pose, and starting to come down towards the mat. So you've got lots of options here. For some of you, your head may come naturally down onto the mat. For others, you may want a cushion to rest on. Maybe you have a block. Maybe you have a large book that you could place there. Some people, if they come down to the forehead, for a little extra, you can come up onto the fingertips. But feel into it. Try and keep the hips over the top of the knees here, just as we do when we are in all fours. You can see why it's called puppy pose. And just feel into it. When you've had enough, just slowly walking the hands back up. We're going to come to sit on the knees just for a second. For this next one, I would advise you tuck the toes, but again, play with it, see what feels best for you, see how it works. We are simply going to interlace the hands behind the back, just like we did in the forward folds earlier on in the week. Really pressing through the toes. Can you feel each one of your toes out behind you? Just so you know, you probably can't. That's totally normal. And then all we're going to do is fold forward from here. So it's going to feel a little strange. You're going to need to engage through the core, trying to keep your balance here. Don't push yourself too much. Just follow yourself with your breath, allowing yourself to meet your own edge. Hinging at the hips, just as we do in forward fold. Allowing the arms to track forwards over the head. Maybe the head comes down onto the mat. Pressing into the toes. Maybe you're here. There's no right or wrong. Finding a version that feels good for you. Opens up your shoulders, your chest. Other options, of course, if you're not loving this, you could find child's pose. And then when you've had enough, just coming out the same way we came in, pressing through the knees, pressing through the toes, engaging through the core to lift yourself all the way back up to sit back on the knees. We're going to come down into your own version of a seat. And we've not really twisted too much other than all fours today, so let's just take a few gentle bits of movement before we come to end the practice. So as you inhale, let's bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring them down by your sides. One more, inhale, arms up overhead. And down by your sides. Bringing the left hand this time onto the right knee. Right arm comes either down beside you or out behind you. Inhale, think nice and long. Chin parallel to the ground. And as you exhale, finding that twist. Inhales, lengthen. Exhales, twist. Coming back through centre as you're ready, take it to the other side. So right hand, left knee, left hand either out to the side or out behind you. Inhale nice and long to prepare. And then as you exhale, twist it round to the left. Not pulling ourselves into the twist, just meeting ourselves where we are today. And as you're ready, coming back through centre. And it's up to you, your choice. You can find a Shavasana position, you can lie down on your back, or you can end today in the seat that we're currently in. Just taking a few moments to find somewhere comfortable. Closing down the eyes. Allowing your breath to return back to its natural rhythm. Notice how you feel. Leaning into and maybe enjoying the stillness. Allowing anything that comes up, that pops into your head, just to come up, just sit with it. And just acknowledging, showing up for yourself this morning. Thanking yourself in your own way. Maybe even that feels a little more comfortable than it did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And if you're in that Shavasana position, or from seated, feel free to spend a little longer here. Take some extra time for yourself if you have it. Just sit and allow yourself to be. I will leave you here. And I will see you tomorrow. Have lovely days, everyone. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me.